Hi everybody, we're here again in Milwaukee and we're sitting with Coby Skonord of Ideawake. And it's awesome to highlight some of the hometown startups here that are also coming to HR Transform. So I'm going to let you have a second to hear from Coby Skonord of what they're doing at Ideawake and how they're innovating the future of HR.
Hey everybody, my name is Coby Skonord. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Ideawake. And Ideawake helps companies with over 250 employees capture, evaluate, and implement ideas from those employees. But really the important piece for HR is that we help empower employees with a voice and really, through our process, measurably increase employee learning and engagement.
That's awesome to hear. And one thing I think about when you talk about employee engagement is the transformation that comes from a lot of peer ideas, right? So when you think about the transformation of HR, what does that mean to you?
Really, more than a word or a phrase, I look at it more as a movement. Over the last 1,000 years, however many thousand years humans have been working, it's all been around a very different structure than what we're seeing going into the 21st century because of the power of the internet. And really what I was passionate about and what made me start Ideawake was the power of crowdsourcing. So what I see as the movement really is that how we work over the next not even 100 years, over the next 5 years is going to fundamentally change, and you're seeing it already in every single industry and every single vertical. And it really comes down to getting comfortable as an HR leader with remote work, the best talent living outside your walls, and really being able to create strategies to tap into that talent that traditionally you would have to hire a W-2 for.
That's awesome. And the next thing when you talked about was getting peer ideas and feedback. What are some of the things that led to that thought process of, I love crowdsourcing, I love people and getting people's engagement? Was there a person, was there a piece of advice, was there an experience that you encountered that said, I need to solve this problem?
Really, from about when I was a junior in college, my fundamental belief, and after reading this book called The Wisdom of Crowds, it comes down to the people that are at the front lines of companies have the best ideas in order to improve the company. So the problem is that there was no way to really empower those people and capture all of their ideas at scale around goals related specifically to the organization. And so really why I started and what made me passionate about it was the ability to really empower those employees at scale with a voice inside of these larger organizations.
And what is some things that you've seen happen from that today? And I'll go into next where the future is going to be, but what are the results have you seen?
Yeah, so a couple of really cool, specifically related to employee engagement, which would be relevant for HR. One of them is Squaw Valley Alpine Meadows. So we work in several different verticals, about 12 right now, and we're in everything from hospitality to healthcare. And in hospitality specifically, Squaw Valley is a ski resort. They launched the system with about 2,000 employees, and in 6 months they did a survey, a baseline survey, and then a survey 6 months in. We increased employee engagement by 74% in that 6-month period, according to McKinsey's Organizational Health Index. So that's one result, and in just terms of really just asking, it's a very simple mechanism too, just to say, hey, we want to empower you with a voice, and a lot of our messaging is around make your voice heard. So we found that actually converts the best as well, but that's one of the main results that we've gotten is just measurable increase in employee engagement in a short period of time.
Okay, and have you seen there being more of an adoption for this in the market? And do you think, and what do you see kind of in the future? Like, what's your prediction along these lines?
Yeah, well, specifically for our market and our software, it's growing at a rapid pace. So I mean, it's projected to be growing at about a CAGR of I think 22% year over year between now and 2023, and so it'll end up being by 2023 about a $1.7 billion industry is projected. So it's a need definitely. If you're looking at how employees are working today, it's fundamentally different, as I had mentioned before, and it comes down to just what we were raised with as millennials, right? And even the generation now after us coming into the workforce is that really we have different expectations for how we work, and really more importantly we want to have that real-time feedback and engagement with others, not necessarily just within our own department or team, but across the organization, and also the visibility up to the top level of the organization to get that feedback and that recognition.
Yeah, and I think that is a challenge that a lot of HR companies are facing, and I know a lot of you listening can relate to this. As you bring in new generations, sometimes what they see does not go in conjunction exactly with what you've envisioned and what you've grown up to know, because they grew up in different lifestyles as those generational gaps become wider and sometimes create divides if you don't have the right levels of communication. So I see the value there. So as we move forward, I mean, we're going into Gen Z is next. And, what do you think needs to change to make it so that those gaps are a lot smaller?
So, I mean, you can go through all the traditional things that people are going to say during, these HR panels, like allowing employees to work remotely, giving people some type of changing up the types of incentive programs that you're offering. But really, it comes down to something very simple. It's just bottom-up communication and showing people that even are at entry levels in the organization that they can have an impact on the overall, like helping the organization reach its vision. So if you set the vision of the organization and communicate that down to the front lines of the organization, don't make it just a top-down conversation. Make it a two-way conversation where you can engage employees in the dialogue so that they can feel like their voice is being heard and really like they're having an impact potentially from day one.
Yes, and there was something that was told to me at a young age that resonates, and it's very, very simple. You were given 2 ears and 1 mouth, so it's your responsibility to listen twice as much as you speak. And that goes in both in business, your personal relationships, in every area of your life. The key is to listen so you can collect enough information to give feedback and not giving feedback with the goal of gaining a response. And when we think about that, when we talk about that, I think about corporate culture. And it's not always in that way. Sometimes leadership's a little bit different, maybe harder to hear. And I think about successful organizations and what makes them stand out. What do you think is one of the most successful things or the one important element to make that easier?
So, I mean, I would say more than anything, living by your values versus just putting them on a piece of paper or putting them up on a wall. And I mean, we were victim to this, personally. It's really coming down to understanding what your values are, communicating those to the organization, making sure that everybody's bought into those, and really truly integrating that from hiring, making sure you're hiring the right people, and making sure that people are happy, because a lot of the time, if your values don't align with the people that are in your organization, it's not going to work. So really just living by your values. I know that's very, very simple and very, very, very simple to say and very hard to execute on, but it's something that really has been apparent to us over the last 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next and final question is, you're leveraging technology to collect those levels of feedback from your own product, but what are some other products that you have seen out there or use that make your team more effective?
Definitely. So our organization is powered by Slack. Our software becomes, really starts to have a value add when you go over 50 employees in it. We're under 50 employees right now. So what we use for communication, collaboration, both internally and externally, is with Slack. Obviously you have traditional email, but a lot of the other tools that we use are related to development, like GitHub, et cetera, like open source communities. But really, I would say the number one that's powering our organization, probably a lot of organizations our size, is Slack.
That is true. As we've heard this from Porch and some of our other interviews, Slack has been one of those resounding sounds of, hey, that's the tool. Get quickly and efficiently communicate in real time. And I can tell you, we use it too. So it's really awesome to hear all these things. And I guess I do have one more question, is what are you most excited for about HR Transform?
How much time you got? Seriously, I really just didn't get to go last year, and Nate had been really talking about it and all the great experiences he had, and really more importantly the people that he met and the relationships, lasting relationships he was able to develop, both professionally and personally. So what I'm looking most forward to is really just getting out there, getting to network with other people that believe what I believe and are very passionate about HR and overall driving the community forward. So really looking forward to HR Transform 2019, and see you out there.
Yeah, so we're going to see you in just under 3 weeks. It's coming up really, really fast, and we're so thrilled to be able to showcase not only startups and large organizations, consultants, venture capital funds that are all looking to improve the future of work, because today we know that jobs available are higher than ever, and it's hard to attract the right talent, not just any talent, but the right talent. So you're going to be able to get lots of fresh perspectives on this as we bring together some of the greatest minds in the world to talk about just that. So thanks, Coby.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you.